What is going on, everybody? My name is Ethan. Welcome back to HardCap Games, and I'm joined by my friend Fataliss Plays Games today. We're talking about Season 1 of the FPL, Fataliss Pokemon League today. Fataliss, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. Pretty tired. I've had a pretty busy day today, but we can get through this.
It's starting to get pretty late where you are, so we're going to move through this pretty quickly today. We're talking about the full draft for Season 1 of the FPL. We're going to go through every team between this video right here and the video that is being posted on Fataliss' channel at the same exact time. So if you're here first, you got to make sure you go over there to check out the second part afterwards. We're going to be talking about 8 of our battlers in this video right here. Hopefully we're going to move through them pretty quickly so we don't take up too much time. But, Fataliss, are you ready to get going and talk about our first season here and what's going to be going on?
Heck yeah, I'm ready to do this.
All right, wonderful. So, like I said, we're going to talk about 8 battlers here today. Because this one's on my channel, we're going to talk about 2 people that I hand-selected and myself, and then we also picked out 4 other people, totaling... I didn't do my math right there. We got 8 people. 2 of them are my friends, and 1 of them is me, and then we've got 5 others we're going to talk about here today. I swear I can do math. I did graduate from college. So, let's just start by talking about my friend Jake, also known as CritCap. Now, he's got a very interesting team, and he picked first overall in the draft. So I think it's very interesting. His team, we're gonna run down each one of these teams as we're going through them, right? He started off by selecting Ogerpon. And the way we did Ogerpon in this is that Ogerpon is divided into 2. Ogerpon Alpha is whatever is first selected. That Ogerpon coach gets to choose which 2 forms of Ogerpon they get. They don't get all 4 forms of Ogerpon. So CritCap decided that they were going to select the Grass form, or the Teal Mask, and the Fire form, so the Hearthflame Mask, as their Ogerpon forms. Also got Kingambit, Quaquaval, Rotom Wash, which is serving as their Terra Captain with the Electric and the Steel typing, Pheasantipity, Mandibuzz, Mamoswine, Poltegeist, and Goodra. So, Fataliss, what do you think about this team right here?
It looks threatening for sure. I mean, him getting Ogerpon straight away was, when I looked at it, because obviously I drafted last, so him getting Ogerpon straight away was kind of terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, oh god, is this really how this is going to go?
Yeah, it's definitely a threat. For sure. This team has so many threats.
And then he picked Kingambit.
I don't know why we let him get Kingambit.
Why did anybody let him get Kingambit?
Why did he drop this far back? I cannot say. It's a great pickup for him, though.
For sure.
And then he wheels it into Quaquaval. That's nuts. So yeah. I do know that Jake's plan going into this was that he wanted to focus on type and swap synergy while trying to nail the utility side of things.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
What's notable to me is that he decided to not go get another grass or fire type. Which means that every week he can't bring a fire, water, grass core separately. He's kind of locked into bringing Ogerpon every week and using it as both his fire and his grass type. I thought what he was going to do when he drafted Ogerpon was I thought he was going to take Ogerpon and then get a Pokemon like Rillaboom or Meowscarada in the second round, and then pair it with a water type like Quaquaval. I thought he was going to take Quaquaval if that was there. And then I thought he was going to go fire type when it came back around, like with like Skeledirge or something. I don't dislike his team. I think his team's actually very well put together, but I think that not having the fire, water, grass core separate from each other might end up biting him in the butt a little bit.
Oh, for sure. I was thinking, like, I looked at when he picked Quaquaval, I was like, why didn't he just pick up Infernape? Because he afterwards he picked Rotom Wash.
Yeah, Rotom Wash, I really wanted Rotom Wash, if we're being completely honest.
I do like Rotom Wash, to be fair.
I do like it. Yeah, the other thing that I like about CritCap's team, right? Pheasantipity is certainly interesting. I think a lot of people don't really understand how to use Pheasantipity yet. myself included. So I'm very curious to see what happens with that. The other thing about
I am more interested to see if he'll either run Toxic Chain or Technician.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Toxic Chain or Technician is going to be very interesting on that Pokemon for sure.
I mean, not only does Technician like boost its dual wing beats, it's got oh god, what else has it got? It's got some pretty strong like Technician boosted moves. That's Tail Slap, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does as well.
But it could also run Toxic Chain with a special set, and it can run Venoshock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
so he can run it either way.
I'm pretty sure that this is how CritCap feels as well. I'm cautiously optimistic to see what Pheasantipity does in this.
Oh, same.
The other pick that I really, really love is Mamoswine. I think that's a great pickup to pair with the rest of this team. It's such a strong it just hits so hard. It's
not only that, it's so bulky as well. If you can run thick fat on it.
Yeah, it's a great pivot. It gets does he still get toxic? I feel like he got toxic at one point in time. He's just a great Pokemon in my opinion. And getting him in, what is that, round 8, round 9? Round 7, that's what it is. Round 7, getting Mamoswine there, it's crazy. And then he paired it with Goodra for his last round.
If I was him, I would have definitely terrored the Mamoswine. I feel like that was a much better option than... I like Rotom, but I feel like Rotom has already got such a good typing.
Mm-hmm.
And Mamoswine being ground ice, it's quite weak to a lot of things.
It is... So, yeah, it's weak to a decent amount. That's true.
So, I don't know. It could actually benefit from a Terra, but we'll soon see.
Yeah, either a Terra Grass or maybe a Terra Ghost on it would be pretty good. Maybe Terra Water. Terra Water is such a good Terra type, though. It's just really good.
Yeah.
What's crazy, though, is that Mamoswine is all the way up here at 13 points, but Piloswine was 3. I think Piloswine probably should have been moved up a little bit. And they're saying that in the chat right now, too. Piloswine being 3 is kind of crazy. It's really good, especially when you slap an Eviolite on it. I think it should have been like a 5 or 6 point Mon. I think there were some that we forgot to put on the board, like some unevolved forms like Monferno and such that should have been on the board, probably as a 3 point Mon, and we just forgot to do so. Let's move on. Let's just move down the draft board onto our next guy we want to talk about, which is the second overall pick, being OctopusWithAHat and the Montana Mamoswines.
That is a scary rain team.
Yes. Octopus built one of the best rain teams I think I've seen in draft. I think that Palafin is just one of the better water types we've ever seen for draft format. But he also then managed to pair it with Pelipper to get up his rain in the second round. And then he got Zapdos coming back around on the wheel. He doesn't have quite a wheel. He has one out of the wheel. He got Yuxi for a defensive synergy. Sinistcha, sick. Iron Hands is a good electric and fighting type. He's built himself a really good team here.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Palafin, well, just do what Palafin does best, Jet Punch and all that malarkey.
Mm-hmm.
You got Zapdos, which, like, it literally just sits there and walls a lot of the moves that a lot of the opposing teams can also throw at it.
Mm-hmm.
The pick I do respect the most is Uxie. I mean, I wanted Uxie myself, so I can't really sit here and say, "Oh God, I didn't get my Uxie. I'm gonna cry."
That's some great awareness.
It was a really good pick for him.
That's some really good awareness of like where the board was at that point in time too, to recognize like, hey, I probably want to take Yuxie right now. His Yuxie might not be his. He took it in round 4, and there was no way he could let it go through the wheel and pass on it a second time. Because there was no way it was going to make it all the way back to him for round 5 or for round 6, I should say. So I think that's some great awareness on him to take it at that point. 12 point Mon in round 4 might be criticized a little bit. But when you look at some other things that were taken in round 4, like Cyclozar and Umbreon, which are 8 and 9 points respectively, I think taking Yuxi here makes a lot of sense for him. I want to point out how many Swift Swim users they have on this team.
Yeah. I mean, what's he got? So he's got
Basculegion and Barraskewda. Zapdos isn't a Swift Swim user, but it definitely loves the rain. Being able to just fire off hurricanes.
For sure.
And
Sets that thunder.
Pelipper sets the rain for it, loves using Hurricane. Palafin gets that boost from water. Iron Hands, I don't think Iron Hands directly benefits from it, but Iron Hands with Electric, it just is scary. It's a scary mon. Iron Hands kind of comes in and forces you out, which allows him to set up like belly drums.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very well-constructed team. I think Gligar actually kind of ties the team together. It's like the little glue holding everything.
See, the one thing I'm actually more curious about is for Sinistcha.
Sinistcha, yeah. That's true.
Yeah,
Gligar did lose
that, like,
roots.
Sinistcha has such good synergy with Pelipper.
It does.
Because it's a grass ghost type, it takes so many other hits.
Mm-hmm.
And it has Matcha Gotcha, which is probably one of the best new moves that they've got.
The one thing that I personally wish, and I face Octopus later on this season, so I'm glad they didn't do this, and they still have time to do it, because I faced them like the last week of the season, or second to last. I think that I probably would have grabbed a water ground type alongside Gligar. I probably wouldn't have gone double up on Basculegion and Barraskewda. I probably would have just grabbed one of them, and then have grabbed either Quagsire or Gastrodon, who are still on the board for the same point total as Basculegion or Barraskewda. I probably would have grabbed one of them just to add a little more bulk onto this team. But it's still a very well-constructed team. It's going to give me fits trying to build for this thing.
Oh, for sure.
All right, let's move on
It's a good team.
Let's move on to the next guy, who's the third pick in the draft. The one Outlaw and the Ottawa Centauros. Or Senatoros, I should say. I have it spelled wrong up here. Senatoros. Now it's spelled right. So.
He got very lucky in the end, didn't he?
Yeah. He got very lucky that thing was there. I will say, Outlaw did a great job conserving some points for a last-second grab. He grabbed a lot of... He decided early on he was going to grab some low-tier points, or some low-point total mons. Like he got Thwacky and Cryogonal. Vikavolt is a 7-point mon. I think Vikavolt's pretty solid in the 7-point tier. But he had enough points left over to pair Landorus with Urshifu Rapid Strike, Heatran, Scizor, and Torterra. And that's a crazy pairing.
I mean, considering Torterra's buffs as well.
Yeah, considering the tough to Torterra. Now, personally, I didn't love Torterra in the 13-point tier. I thought that it was more of a 12 or an 11, so I wasn't really looking at taking it. But I still think that in the sphere of this team, Torterra is going to work for him. It's going to put in a lot of work for Outlaw.
I mean, the fact that Torterra gets Shell Smash.
I guess Shell Smash now, yeah.
Headlong Rush.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Headlong Rush for it, Shell Smash.
This thing could be scary.
It could be really scary to take this thing on. It's also the Terra Captain, Terra Grass, Terra Fire. It's so good.
It is good.
Within this context,
not
right,
only
of
that,
being the Terra Captain.
Not only that, it's also pairing with Heatran.
Yes, Heatran takes so much pressure off of Torterra.
And Florges as well.
And Florges does that as well. Outlaw had a great first 3 picks, right? With the Urshifu, the Heatran, and the Scizor. Then they grabbed Torterra, decided they're going to make that their captain, got their Spinner in the next round, got their Grounded Poison type the round after that, got a pretty decent Fairy type in Florges, started grabbing some low tier mons, had enough points left over to get Landorus. That's a great draft for them. The one thing about their team is that speed is a problem for Outlaw. Their fastest mon is Cryogonal at 105, and then it's Landorus at 101.
Yeah. He's gonna have to try and figure out what one of his mons is like a Trick Room setter.
I don't know if he even has a Trick Room setter.
I feel like.
If he has one, it's probably Florges, if I had to guess. I don't know.
I would
if
assume it's Florges as well.
I don't know if Florges gets me. Oh, does he get Trick Room? Let's see. He does not get Trick Room. So I don't know if he has a Trick Room setter on his team.
He does have priority. He does have priority on Scizor and also Urshifu.
Yes, he does have that. I think he's going to find himself in trouble a lot of the time because he's not going to be able to outspeed most things. But I think that it won't matter because his team synergizes so well with itself that it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Oh, for sure.
I think he'll be able to just eat a hit, fire something off, and then switch if he needs to. I think he's done a really good job building a team here, especially for his first ever draft. This is a really good draft for him.
Oh yeah, for sure.
On that note, do we want to flip over to his brother and talk about Supernova and the Hamilton Boltons?
Oh yeah, why not? Let's go for it.
All right, Hamilton Boltons, Coach Supernova, brother of Outlaw, has an interesting squad here. They built a Sun team with a lot of fire types. Which is interesting. Roaring Moon Iron Treads is a really solid start. I didn't think that they were going to turn this into a Sun team following it, but then now looking at it, right, like Torkoal makes the most amount of sense for him to grab here because now he's able to just easily set the Sun up for Roaring Moon and Iron Treads to be able to utilize their abilities.
And then his next pick was the real kicker, I believe.
Yeah.
Lilligant. Getting that Lilligant Hisui quite like at the 4th round. Incredible.
So
what a pick that was.
He is forced to still use a booster energy on his Iron Treads. But being able to just switch back and forth between Roaring Moon and Iron Treads, pretty much back and forth just seamlessly as long as the Sun is up, it's really good for him. And then Lilligant Hisui gets Chlorophyll and gets to just kind of punch things in the mouth as hard as he wants. And if he needs a defensive backbone, he's got Screamtail and Clodsire in the back.
Yep.
So I think he's done a pretty solid job building his team here. He's a very physical team. His only real special attackers are Screamtail, Mismagius, and Armarouge, and Rotom Frost to a lesser extent.
He's also got Rotom Frost and Pyroar.
Yeah, Pyroar is kind of mixed, isn't he?
I'd say he's more special.
Is he more special? Am I misremembering Pyroar's stats?
I am
entirely misremembering Pyroar's stats. Yeah, he's 109 special attack, 168 attack. That's my bad. Totally forgot how that thing works. Because you never see it. It's
the interesting pick though, Rotom Frost.
It's definitely an interesting pick. I definitely respect it. I personally, past Heat and Wash, don't love Rotom. Mo to a lesser extent. I think Mo has some usefulness. I don't love Frost, and I definitely don't like Fan. But
Fan I think, just sucks.
Yeah, I think that Frost has the ability to come in here and deal with some things that this team otherwise can't. You know? It's a great dragon counter. It's because it's relatively fast. It hits with blizzards at its 107 special attack. Yeah, I mean, Rotom Frost, he's in PU for a reason, right? That 86 speed is not helping him. That 50 HP, certainly not helping him. But he's bulky enough that he can make it work, at least on his defenses.
Oh, for sure. Could see him running a Assault Vest Rotom.
And he's got Torkoal to kind of absorb any fire moves that come his way. So I think Hamilton Boltons have built a solid team here. I think I need to see it in action before I make any bolder claims than that. I'm definitely curious to see this weekend when we see Hamilton take on Tanner and the Nidokings. I think that is going to be very interesting. See what happens, because Tanner's got a very interesting team that we're going to talk about over on your channel.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens in that matchup when we do our recap next Sunday, for sure. All right, let's move on and talk about both of our favorite teams in this entire draft. The Seattle Suicunes and Coach Spicekos.
Oh boy.
This team is a doozy. Oh my goodness. This team is absolutely heat. Only got 9 months. Built very well in my personal, honest opinion. Tornadus Therian
Oh,
is
for
not
sure.
Tornadus Therian is not a mon that I love. When
Not
paired
sure
with
about
Iron
that.
Bundle and
Incarnate's the better one
Garchomp,
for doubles.
when paired with Iron Bundle Garchomp, it's just a crazy pairing right there. He followed it up with Mew and made that the Terra Captain with Terra Psychic and Terra Fairy. And then he
That
got
thing's pretty
Fortress.
scary.
And he still got Fortress.
How he got Fortress, I do not know.
I don't know how Fortress fell to the 5th round, but I think that spicekos is very happy that they did. Then followed up with Sylveon, Rotom Heat, Zarude, and Snorlax. And now, I don't personally love Zarude. I think that Zarude's a little bit overrated. It's probably my least favorite pick on this team, but it still has a decent output. I think that Zarude is kind of locked into doing the one thing. It's got a really bad ability in Leaf Guard.
Yeah.
But he just gets to kind of just go for jungle healings to heal up, and power whips to smack you in the face, and he gets to U-turn out when he doesn't want to be there anymore.
Pretty much.
And he runs boots or lefties every week. It's an interesting team. This team is going to be tough to build for, in my opinion, because there's there's so much damage just coming out from this team between Garchomp, Bundle, and Torn, and then Mew and Fortress just set up on you, or just stall you out
and then you just
entirely.
got Snorlax as well.
And
Snorlax can just stall up with belly drums.
Yeah, you set up with Mew, you go into Snorlax, and Snorlax gets to sit behind the setup. It's nuts. It's a crazy
it's
pairing.
kind of mad.
He's got such a good team here. Snorlax just gets to go for Curse and sit behind screens.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure.
They got Bundle dealing all the damage as well. I'm surprised that Bundle was picked, personally. But it's something for sure. I mean, we've obviously got the Tornadus variant. Regenerator is insane, one of the best abilities in the game by far.
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall, very, very well made, and definitely a team to fear throughout the whole.
Mm-hmm. I think that one thing that we're undervaluing is the fact that, and someone just mentioned this to me, is that Snorlax does get Trailblaze now.
Oh God.
And gets to just start setting up some +1 speeds.
To be fair, he could just run like a Curse set and then have Trailblaze just there.
Yeah, no, you could run Curse and Trailblaze on this mon, and just mess some stuff up. This is such a well put together team, in my opinion. I think it's really good. It does get body press as well. I'm just looking through its moves right now. It still has Earthquake like it always has. It has Hammer Arm still. It's such a good Pokemon. Snorlax. I love Snorlax. I'm a Snorlax fan. spicekos put together a good team. spicekos in week 1 is facing off against Farrell and Aston Vivillon, which is the Alomomola team. So
yep,
that's gonna be an interesting week 1 matchup that I'm gonna want to watch for sure. We're gonna watch all of them, of course, but definitely interested in that one.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next one, we have 3 left. We're just gonna move down the draft board. The next one up on my list is my good friend Trout 207, also known as Kyle.
What a team!
He's got a team and a half. So I want to point out. So because of where Kyle works, he has no service. So he sent me his entire draft order. He's like, I want this and then this and then this. He had no alternative picks. He just said, just keep moving down the list as you're drafting. He didn't get sniped once from his original list.
That's so lucky.
So this team that he's got right here, with the exception of Pikachu at the very end, is the exact team that he wanted when he drafted.
Wow.
This is absolutely and to top it off, for his first ever draft league, he has no experience ever doing draft before. I asked him on a whim, hey, do you want to do a draft league with me and some my YouTuber buddies, and he was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And I told him what a draft league is, and he asked, well, is Arceus in the game? And I said no, and he said, well, what's the point? And so his entire experience playing Pokemon is being top 200 on Anything Goes ladder back in the Sun and Moon era with Marshadow.
What a Chad.
That's his entire set. And I told him what some of the new Pokemon do, and he built a team based off of it, and I think he built a pretty good one, actually. First off, I love Annihilate Corviknight as a pairing.
That is a pairing and a half.
Yeah. Fataliss, do you remember what my initial draft plan was for the AFG? It was to take Annihilate Corviknight. That was the order I was going to do before Annihilate got sniped from me. And then I went Lando. I think Annihilate Corviknight really pairs well together. He's got Volcanion, which is certainly an interesting pick. I think Volcanion has really good damage output, but I think the ways that you can use Volcanion are relatively limited. It does have Water Absorb, which is nice, but really it's just kind of going for an offensive Steam Eruption or a Flamethrower. It's got solid coverage, it's got Flash Cannon, it's got Earth Power, it's got Sludge Bomb, it's even got Solar Beam. So I think Volcanion's got it's useful for him for sure. Fills the role of a water.
Very, very useful.
Yeah, and it's very offensive. It's got some solid defensive stats as well, but it's mostly offensive. He paired it with Toxapex in the 5th round. He got Braviary Hisui in the 4th.
How did he get Toxapex, man?
I don't know how we let him get Toxapex, personally. He paired it with Diancie, who I'm not a huge fan of Diancie. I've used Diancie before. But, I mean, maybe he knows something I don't about Diancie. Maybe he keeps thinking that he can Mega Evolve, which he can't. But it's got really good defenses and really poor HP. It's just a stronger version of Carbink,
I think it's got some usage.
It's definitely got use. It's definitely got use. He got Mouse Hold. I think that we told him what Tidy Up does. We told him what Tidy Up does, and he was like, "Oh, I'm taking Mouse Hold then." Komodo definitely works better with a Terra. Not able to Terra under this format, but Komodo's it's solid still. It hits hard.
It's a good mon.
It's got bulletproof still.
It's still got Clangorous Soul. It doesn't need a Terra.
Still got Clangorous Soul. It's still got Overcoat too, and it's got Soundproof. So based on whatever's across from him, he can build that every week. I face him week 2, and I'm dreading this team. He's also got Hoopa Unbound. He's got Masquerain for Webs and Intimidate. And then he also drafted Pikachu in the last round. I think I love this team. This is kind of the team that I wanted to draft in the AFG. It's really good. It's a good team that he's built. I'm very proud of my friend. I respect the heck out of the Pikachu. He noticed his weakness to electric, and he thought, you know what? What's the one mon that absolutely resists everything electric? Well, so here's the thing: is that I don't think that was his intent, because when it was his pick, because when it was his pick, I called him, and I knew he was driving at this point in time because he was back home for the weekend, and he drove home. I called him, and he was in a movie theater, about to go watch a movie. I forget which movie. And he said, and I said, hey, it's your pick. What do you want? And he goes, I don't know. Is Pikachu available? And I go, yeah, it's still on the board. It's 1 point. And he goes, hell yeah, Pikachu. Let's do it. Send it. So we got Pikachu. And Pikachu's actually really solid for his team. It fits it fits like some of the niche he's looking for, even though it's just a Pikachu. It doesn't have E-Speed, which kind of stinks, but it gets a Light Ball, and he just gets to kind of just go for moves. It's a solid pick. I respect the hell out of the pick.
Oh, same.
He's got a fun. I think he's gonna have fun. And the thing about Trout that I know about him is that I have a hard time beating him in any video game. I have no doubt in my mind that he's gonna figure this out, and maybe we'll make a playoff push.
Oh yeah,
especially with the team he's constructed here, he's not going to struggle. I think
with the team he has,
he's not going to struggle.
Yeah.
I still need to teach him
For the team he has, he's going to go far.
I still need to teach him what speed creeping is. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. He's got a solid team. I'm very satisfied with. If I was him, I'd be very satisfied with where we stand right now. Let's move on to the second to last one, which is Blue Fusion and the Alabama Feraligators.
Oh, for sure. He planned his team so well. I love it.
He did plan a team. He planned a really good team coming through here. Great Tusk, Samurott Hisui, Iron Moth, Cresselia, Zoroark Hisui, Enamorous Therian. Like, this is just a crazy start to a draft. And then he
picks up Ditto.
And he picks up Ditto. I'm like, oh man, this is a good team he's got here. My one thing that I'll say about this team is that his next pick after Ditto was Electrode Hisui, which is one of my least favorite Pokemon in the draft. I think he's going to find that Electrode is very frustrating to build with because you're never going to get the damage output you want on it. It's just going to kind of come, set up, do like a quick little Volt turn, get on out of there, and it's going to set up one screen and die. It's not great. I don't love Electrode Hisui, which is why I steered far away from it. After using it back in the AFG, I did not like it. It just kind of goes first, and that's all it does. If you're looking for it to pick up a kill, it's not going to do it. So, he did follow it up, though, with Salamence.
I feel bad for Electrode.
Yeah, Electrode
Salamence was huge.
He follows it up with Salamence, decides to make it his Terra Captain, Terra Flying, Terra Fire. It's such a solid mon. Oh, I didn't even mention that on the last one, on Trout 207, he has Corviknight as his Terra Captain, Terra Ground, Terra Steel. It's a pretty solid pairing, in my opinion. I probably would have gone with Toxapex. Sure. But Terra Flying, Terra Blast from Salamence is like his new best move.
Oh, for sure.
That's a crazy move. I'm so glad Protoman just brought it up in the chat here because I was not thinking about that. What is his flying option otherwise for Salamence?
Ooh, dual wing beat?
It's dual wing beat or it's Hurricane. Or Fly.
Yeah. To be fair, the Terra types he has picked, like...
They work for
Flying could be used on like a physical Ments.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Fire one could be used on special Ments.
Yeah. Yeah, he's...
I can see that happening.
Salamence with Terra is probably going to be a really good Pokemon in this league. I think it's going to pick up a lot of kills for him. I think Salamence is almost a must-bring for him in most weeks, unless he's facing off against Pokemon like Baxcalibur or against Alolan Ninetales or something. But like one of those really good ice types. But even then, Salamence gets dragon moves for Baxcalibur.
Salamence Walls.
And he gets fire moves for Ninetales. And he gets Iron Head for Ninetales. So, I mean, Salamence is just... It's a really good mon. It's the reason it's 15 points. But now, slapping Terra Flying on it just makes it all that much better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like, Terra Flying Moxie. Enough said.
Yeah,
but he also has, with the Terra Fire, he can run the Intimidate set.
He has Moxie or Intimidate. It's so good. It's such a good mon to have. I respect it.
Oh, yeah.
And then he also, for his last picks, got Espeon, solid, and Spidops.
I think it's a good Magic Bounce user.
I think it is too. I think it's a really good Magic Bounce user. So,
but
Spidops as his last pick, though, I was looking at it. I was definitely looking at it for the next pick. For my last pick.
And then you realized you didn't have enough points.
No, I had enough points for it, and then I got sniped one pick before I picked.
Yeah.
So yeah, Spidops gets to set up webs. What else does Spidops
honestly, he could bring Spidops every week.
He could bring Spidops every week. I think that a lot of the time Spidops every week doesn't really work out for him. But I mean, Spidops is he's just naturally very good. I'm trying to pull up all the notes that I have about Spidops. He has a low base stat total, but he has webs, he has spikes, he has Silk Trap, which is pretty solid, and he gets Sucker Punch. So I think Spidops is.
Yeah.
I think it's a sneaky bring every week, and I think it's like the mon that you look at in team prep and you go, he's not going to bring it, and then it shows up and you're not ready for it, and it just kind of wins, or at least sets everything else up to it. So yeah, I think he's done a very good job building this team right here. Oh, my camera just crashed.
Official.
Haha. He's a good lead. He has memento, and he has spikes. Yeah, that's a solid, very solid team.
For sure.
And finally, for this video, let's talk about my team, the Detroit Cobalions and Coach HardCap Games. What do you think about my team before I talk about my team?
Okay, so getting Backscalibur off the back, huge for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the new buffs with Icicle Spear. You got Scale Shot now, which is absolutely insane. And then your next pick was what? Clefable. Then it was Volk.
Yeah.
When I saw you pick Clefable, I was like, dear God, this man. This man is really going for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not only have you got Backscalibur, which can set up with D-Dance, you've also went off and picked up Volk. Volk with Quiver Dance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then what did I follow that up with? And then what did I follow that up with?
Yeah. And then you followed it up with Garganical.
Yeah.
The one mod I was fearing for a Terra.
Yep.
What did he do? He made
him a Terra Captain. And then who did I follow that up with? Who did I follow that up with?
Went out with Slow King.
Slow King. Yeah, this team.
And then the pick that I suggested, and I was surprised you actually took it. But Chestnut.
Chestnut, yeah. Yeah, it's...
Chestnut. It gets a lot. I think the buffs from this generation alone for Chestnut has been huge.
Oh, yeah. He's... I'm very...
He's definitely something.
I'm very excited to use him. For sure.
You also got Galewing's Talonflame.
Yep. I did get Galewing's Talonflame, that is correct.
You got Gengar, which is scary. You got Gengar. You got Sandslash the Spinner.
Yep.
You got Murkrow, your Tailwind / everything user.
Yep, I did. He does everything.
And then you just picked up Sliggoo Hisui just for the sake of, you know what, I've got enough bulk on my team. Let me just add another one.
Let's just add more. Let's just add more.
Let's just add more.
Yeah. So when I came into
overall, your picks were really good. I'm going to be real.
I think I have a really good team. Yeah. So when I went into this...
And I go against you week 5, by the way.
You do. Yep. So when I came into this draft, I was... I had a plan coming into the draft. And my plan was that Baxcalibur and Annihilate would both be gone by the time it got to me at 13. So my plan was that my first pick was going to be...
Wait.
Yeah, so my first pick was going to be Volcarona, and then my second pick was going to be Clefable. But when Bax was there, I was like, I can't just pass up on Bax. And let him have it? Let Fataliss have this thing? No. So I took Bax. It came back around.
It's funny because Baxcalibur wasn't actually on my list.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was going to go as well.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't getting out of the first round, though. I think if I didn't take it, then I think that Nova was taking it next. Nova picked right after me and took Roaring Moon instead.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like Bax was their pick if I didn't take Bax over Roaring Moon. But Baxcalibur was there, and I was like, I got to take it. It's really good. It just won the AFG with Terra Electric now. Now can't Terra, but had Terra. Baxcalibur is just so good. Clefable comes back around, and now I'm tormenting. I'm talking with you. We're playing Pokemon Unite while this is happening. I'm tormenting between Clefable and Volcarona, and I decided that at the moment, I think that Clefable works better for what I'm trying to do with my team, and I can, if I don't get Volcarona, I can go get Skeledirge. That was my idea. Comes back around for for the third round though. Volcarona's still there, and I'm like, oh well, sweet. I'll just take Volcarona. I don't take Skeledirge now. In retrospect, Skeledirge would have solved some of my problems.
Yeah.
But Volcarona with Quiver Dance is just too good to really pass up, so I didn't want to do that. It comes back around now, and now I'm just kind of looking to fill pieces on my team. And I talked about all this on my own video. But Garg is sitting there, and I'm like, okay, well, if I don't take Garg, I'm gonna have to deal with Garg. So I'm just gonna take Garg.
Sure.
I'm just gonna take him right now. So I take Garg. I make my Terra Cap.
I can't remember what I said to you.
What did you say to me
I said
again?
something about Garg to you, and you, like, I said to you, I was like, look, trust, Terra Ghost, Garganical, gross.
Yeah.
Utterly disgusting.
Yeah, I just took Garg because it felt like the right mon to take at that point in time. Slowking and Chestnut, and Slowking sets up the snow for him for Baxcalibur. He's really good. This team is just, in my opinion, very top heavy.
Oh yeah,
Slowking, Chestnut, Talonflame, Gengar to run out my first 8 picks. They do everything I need them to do, but then I was left without a Steel type and without a Spinner. And
yeah,
Sandslash was the only Spinner left available. Didn't love that. And well, he was only Spinner and also still a ground type because Toad Scroll had been taken at this point. Murkrow, I took because I kind of like the idea of having Prankster, and he also sets up almost everything that I would need him to set up. And Sliggoo was just like, oh, he's still here, and he's a Steel type. Ah, sweet. He's super bulky. Let's take him. I can slap an Eviolite on this bad boy and rock out for a bit. So I think I've built a good team. I think there are some mons on here that I don't know how often they're going to be brought, but I think that if I bring them, they'll do the work I need them to do. So I think every week it's going to be tough for me to build a team of just 6. You know, I'm stuck with 6.
Yeah, I mean, especially with your first opponent.
Yeah, my first opponent.
Who's your first opponent again?
It's the Manaphy team.
Oh yeah,
Strowman. we're gonna talk about Strowman over on your channel. So Magnus in the first team that I face. Magnus has a really good team. We're gonna talk about that over on your channel. That's tough. That's really tough to deal with.
Yeah, you got a tough first couple weeks.
I do, because I started off with Magnus and then I go face Kyle for round 2, and I rarely beat Kyle in video games, so I'm very nervous about that one, even though I'm the one who told him to do this. I think in my mind, when I told him, hey, you can do this, I wouldn't have to play him.
Randomize this for schedule. Oh, what?
Yeah, randomized schedule. I'm like, I'm facing him second week. Yeah,
that's dang it.
It's tough. But yeah, I decided to make Garg, Terra Rock, and Terra Ghost. Rock, just because it's the stab type for him. But Terra Ghost, I think, also kind of deals with most of the stuff that you'd want to Terra. Most of the moves you want to throw into a Garg. Terra Ghost can kind of deal with.
You're pretty much neutral to Ghost yourself, then.
I'm
because of the way Purifying Salt
and because
works.
of Purifying Salt, I'm neutral to Ghost. So it's interesting. It's an interesting set. I'm gonna have to spend a lot of time building for him this week, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think all the drafts so far pretty good.
Yeah, so we are 8 picks in, and we are 46 minutes into this. So we're gonna wrap up here because this is the first one, and the other 8 mons, other 8 teams, if you're interested in seeing those, are over on Fataliss' channel. So the link to that video will be down in the description. We're gonna post these 2 videos at the same time, so by the time you're done watching this one, that one's already been posted for 45 minutes. So we'll see how that goes. Definitely go check that out, though. Leave a like on this video if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. With that being said, my name is Ethan. This is my buddy Fataliss. We are the commissioners of the FPL, and we will see you guys in the next video. Peace.